sa Malaysia nagbanggaan sa kalsada.
Sino-sino kaya ang nasangkot sa trahedya? Ang kabuang detalye aming ibabahagi maya-maya. Magandang gabi, ako po si Rikki Mathay.
Ako si Rikki, Alagao, Flores. Ito po ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong araw ng Lunes.
Mongolian Foreign Minister Batsetseg Banmong bumisita sa Pilipinas.
COMELEC na iproklama na ang mga nanalo na party list group sa May 12 midterm polls.
Hindi bababa sa 13 katao patay sa bombing attack sa Mogadishu, Somalia.
US President Donald Trump makikipag-usap kay Russian President Vladimir Putin.
At 2 tripulante ng Mexican Navy ship patay nang sumabit ang barko sa Brooklyn Bridge. Bumisita po sa Pilipinas si Mongolian Foreign Minister Batsetseg Banmong, ayon po yan sa Department of Foreign Affairs.
Nakipagkita si Batsetseg kay Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo para sa isang bilateral meeting sa Maynila. Higit pa rito, inaasahan na bibisitahin din ng Mongolian diplomat si Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. at Senate President Francis Escudero. Ayon sa DFA, layo ng pagbisita ni Batsetseg na mas palawigin pa ang diplomatic ties sa pagitan ng Pilipinas at ng Mongolia. Noong August 2024, bumisita si Foreign Affairs Secretary Manalo sa Ulaanbaatar para sa 4th Philippines-Mongolia Policy Consultations. Dito, tinalakay ng Pilipinas at ng Mongolia kung paanong maisusulong nila ang trade and business relations ng mga Filipino and Mongolian business communities at mapalawak pa ang kooperasyon ng dalawang bansa sa aspeto ng turismo, pang-agrikultura at iba pa.
Naka-alerto po ngayon ang Department of Health o DOH sa pagdami ng mga kaso ng COVID-19 sa ilang bansa sa Southeast Asia. Ayon sa Health Department, nakikipag-ugnayan sila sa Association of Southeast Asian Nations o ASEAN para mabigyan sila ng beripikadong impormasyon. Tiniyak naman ng DOH sa publiko na wala dapat ikabahala dahil anila nakahanda sila para sa naturang sakit. Batay sa monitoring ng COVID-19 trends, nagkaroon ng uptick sa bagong kaso ng COVID sa Hong Kong, Singapore at Thailand ngayong taon.
Pinabulaanan ng Department of Education ang kumakalat na post sa social media patungkol sa pagkakaroon ng dagdag na grade level sa senior high school sa pagsisimula ng school year 2025-2026. Ayon sa DepEd, hindi totoo at fake news ang mga ito. Git ng ahensya sa kasalukuyan ng senior high school sa Pilipinas ay mayroon lamang 2 grades at yan ay ang grades 11 at 12. Kaya paalala ng Department of Education at DepEd sa publiko, maging maingat at maging mapanuri laban sa misinformation. Sumangguni lamang anila sa opisyal na mga anunsyo at impormasyon tungkol sa basic education sa official DepEd Philippine social media accounts.
54 na party list groups ang nanalo sa katatapos na eleksyon kung saan katumbas ito ng 63 seats sa Kongreso na makauupo naman sa June 30. Subalit, 52 lamang sa mga ito ang naiproklama ng COMELEC ngayong araw. Ibig sabihin, 59 ng 63 House seats lamang na mapupunan ng 52 party list groups, habang ang 4 na seats na natitira ay para sa Duterte Youth at Bagong Henerasyon. Ang dalawang grupo ay na-defer ang kanilang proklamasyon dahil sa disqualification cases na inihain laban sa kanila. Kung sila man po ay madisqualify, mabibigyan ng pagkakataon ang pang 55th hanggang 58th rank na makakuha ng tig-isang House seat. Gayunpaman, tiniyak ng COMELEC na maglalabas sila ng desisyon bago June 30.
Samantala, puspusan na ang paghahanda ng COMELEC para sa isasagawang Bangsamoro Autonomous Region ng Muslim Mindanao o BARM polls sa Oktubre dahil natapos na ang 2025 midterm elections. Ayon kay COMELEC Chairperson George Garcia, malaki ang naitulong ng natapos na midterm elections para makapag-adjust ang poll body para sa barm polls. Kanilaan niya ikokonsidera ang mga aral na natutunan mula sa katatapos na halalan para hindi sila magkamali sa Bangsamoro elections. Tinukoy ng poll body chief na magtatalaga sila ng 7,000 automated counting machines o ACMs para sa Oktubre. Dagdag pa niya, target nilang mag-implement ng 1:1 ratio ng ACM kada polling precinct. Magsisimula naman mula Hulyo hanggang Agosto ang printing of ballots para sa mga barm polls habang plano rin ng COMELEC na isabay rito ang resumption ng voter registration.
Mapapakamot man po sa ulo ngayon ng mga motorista dahil inaasahang magpapatupad ang mga oil industry firms ng big-time price hike sa oil products bukas. Batay sa inilabas na advisories ng mga kumpanya ng langis, itataas nila ng 1.20 ang presyo kada litro ng gasolina. 1.70 naman ang hike sa presyo ng diesel habang 1.20 ang dagdag sa presyo kada litro ng kerosene o gas. Ayon po sa Department of Energy Oil Industry Management Bureau, ang taas presyo sa produktong petrolyo ay epekto na napagkasundo ang 90-day tariff pause ng Estados Unidos at ng China.
Susunod, 13 katao patay matapos ang terror attack sa Mogadishu.
US President Donald Trump nais kausapin si Russian President Vladimir Putin.
At former President Joe Biden na-diagnose na may prostate cancer. Mga detalye po ng mga balitang yan at iba pa ring mga balita sa pagbabalik ng mata ng Agila International.
Is a news story with Kada Umaga.
Your favorite morning show, ito po ang Kada Umaga!
Surprise performances, latest trends, expert hacks, and exciting games. Be ready to be part of the Kada squad and enjoy your morning with Diana, Emma, and Pia. Kada Umaga, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, only on NET25.
Let's net together, sa NET25. Sa NET25.
When your dog wants to go out, that means right away. If your cat has a date, it means no delay. But for us, first we have to get our hair right and our skin smooth, take care of any zits, and get those teeth gleaming. Social media has no shortage of self-styled beauty experts to consult, of course, but take advice with a grain of salt.
First, you should ask, who is this person I'm listening to?
First, somebody who's helped a growing audience to improve their hair.
Nasawi ang hindi bababa sa 13 katao at sugatan naman ang 30 iba pa sa bombing attack sa Mogadishu, Somalia. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, pinasabugan ng bomba ng attacker ang gate ng Damanyo Military Base habang pinilahan ito ng maraming kabataan na sasali sa recruitment drive. Matapos ang insidente, agad na kinordonan ng mga otoridad ang buong lugar. Nitong linggo, inako ng Islamist militant group na Al-Shabaab ang pag-atake sa military base. Hindi naman nagbigay ng opisyal na pahayag ang gobyerno ng Somalia hinggil sa anunsyo ng militanteng grupo. Ang Al-Shabaab ay isa sa mga grupong grupong nag-alsa laban sa Somalia simula pa noong taong 2007. Matagal na rin silang kinakalaban ng militar ng Mogadishu, partikular na sa sentral ng Somalia.
Kinumpirma po ng Beijing na nasawi ang 3 individual sa Southern Guangxi region dahil sa matinding pagbaha sa nasabing lugar. Ayon sa state media, nagdeklara na ang pinakamataas na antas ng flood alert ang mga otoridad. Pinayuhan na rin ng Meteorological Bureau ang mga residente na maging maingat at mapagmatsyag sa mga posibleng mudslides dahil sa serye ng mga pag-ulan sa susunod na araw.
Nagsagawa ng unang direktang pag-uusap ang mga negotiators sa pagitan ng Ukraine at Russia ngayong Biyernes sa Istanbul. Ito ay makalipas ang mahigit 3 taon mula nang sumiklab ang giyera sa pagitan ng dalawang bansa. Ang naturang pagpupulong na idinao sa Dolmabahce Palace sa Bosphorus ay isang senyales ng diplomatic progress sa pagitan ng magkabilang panig na hindi pa kailanman nagkaharap mula noong Marso 2022. Ang US na isa sa nagsisilbing mediator ay pinadala si US State Department Director of Policy Planning Michael Anton para kumatawan sa Amerika sa naturang pag-uusap. Sa panig naman ng Ukraine, ipinadala ni President Volodymyr Zelensky ang kanyang team na pinangunahan ni Defense Minister Rustem Umerov kasama ang Deputy Heads of Ukraine Intelligence Services, Deputy Chief ng Military General Staff at Deputy Foreign Minister.
1,000 people. Our first priority was people, and that's why we negotiated to free 1,000 people, and we reached to a conclusion, reach to an agreement to exchange 1,000 people. The second objective was to discuss ceasefire. We exchanged on modalities, and our teams will be working on exchanging the details. I think the next step would be that the leaders level meeting should be organized, and that would be our next step.
Ang delegasyon naman ng Russia ay pinangunahan ni Kremlin aide Vladimir Medinsky, kabilang ang Deputy Defense Minister, Deputy Foreign Minister at Head ng Military Intelligence.
Готовы продолжать прямые переговоры с украинской стороной, организованные по инициативе президента России, только что завершились. В целом мы удовлетворены результатом и готовы продолжать контакты. Первое. В ближайшие дни произойдет масштабный обмен пленными 1000 на 1000 человек. Второе. Украинская сторона запросила прямые переговоры между руководителями государств. Мы приняли этот запрос к сведению. И третье. Мы договорились о том, что каждая сторона представит свое видение возможного будущего прекращения огня. Пропишет это в деталях. После того, как такое видение будет представлено, мы полагаем целесообразным, тоже об этом договорено, продолжить наши переговоры.
Ayon sa Turkish Foreign Ministry, sinagawa ang trilateral meeting sa pagitan ng mga opisyal ng Turkiye, US at Ukraine kabilang si US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Sinundan ito ng pag-uusap sa pagitan ng mga delegasyon ng Russia at Ukraine kasama ang mga opisyal ng US at Turkiye.
Pressure on the Russian Federation must continue. We should not really relax at this point. And there are many issues that can be resolved if only the leaders can meet. And given the nature of the Russian Federation, where practically every single issue that is at stake can only be resolved by President Putin, we are looking forward for having the summit sooner than later. The fact that one of the results of today's discussion is a possible exchange of 1,000 against 1,000 persons is an excellent news, potentially excellent news for 1,000 probably families in Ukraine.
Mababa ang inaasahang breakthrough sa Ukraine peace talks matapos na una nang ihayag ni US President Donald Trump na walang inaasahang progreso o pag-usad sa peace talks hanggat hindi sila nagkakausap ni Russian President Vladimir Putin.
We have to meet. He and I will meet. I think we'll solve it, or maybe not, but at least we'll know. And if we don't solve it, we're very interesting.
Ito ang naging unang pahayag ni Trump matapos ang naganap sa peace talk sa pagitan ng dalawang kampo noong nakaraang linggo. Una nang nagpahayag ng interes si Trump na bumiyahe patungong Istanbul bago ang naturang peace dialogue. Subalit tinanggihan naman ni Vladimir Putin ang naging imbitasyon na negosasyon o ng negotiating body kung saan sinabi ng Kremlin na tinatansya pa nito ang kalagayan sa frontline bago ito umalis ng Russia.
When do you think you'll meet the president?
As soon as we can set it up.
Why wait?
Well, I think it's time for us to just do it. I said, they all said Putin was going and Zelensky was going, and I said, if I don't go, I guarantee Putin's not going. And he didn't go, and I understand that, but we're going to get it. We're going to get it done. We got to get it done. 5,000 young people are being killed every single week on average, and we're going to get it done.
Were you surprised when Zelensky didn't show up either, sir? Were you surprised when Zelensky didn't show up either?
No, he didn't show up because he heard Putin wasn't going, so.
Nagkasundo na ang Britanya at EU na muling buhayin ang kanilang kasunduan pangdepensa at kalakalan kasama ang European Union.
We on this side are following through on what the British public voted for last year and the mission of this government to deliver security and renewal for our country and improve the lives of working people. In uncertain times, a new era for defence, security and trade, we will do that by strengthening our relationships with allies around the world, including, of course, with Europe. So that is what today is all about, moving on from stale old debates, looking forward, not backwards.
Ito na ang pinakamalaking ugnayan ng magkabilang partido simula noong pinili ng United Kingdom na kumalas sa European bloc sa pamamagitan ng Brexit. Sa ilalim ng kasunduan, makikipagtulungan ng Britanya sa mga defense procurement projects. Kapalit nito ay papayagan ng EU makapasok ang mas maraming negosyante at produkto mula sa UK patungo sa kalakhang Europa. Sa ilang okasyon nang nagkasundo si UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer at European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen na dapat protektahan ng kanilang kontinente ang kanilang pansariling interes sa harap ng banta ng taripa ni Donald Trump.
This is a big day because we are now turning the page and opening a new chapter. A new chapter that is so important in these times because we see the rise of geopolitical tensions, but we are like-minded. We share the same values. We know that we work shoulder by shoulder, hand in hand, when it's really coming to crisis and difficult moments. So we should use this moment also with this first summit to develop a roadmap, which is on the table here. It's an amazing, comprehensive roadmap that we have, looking at security and defense together, but also looking at the whole economic cooperation that we have, and most importantly, people-to-people contact. So very much looking forward to the summit. Thank you very much again for hosting us here.
Sa ilalim ng government reset ay magiging pinakamalaking kasosyo ng UK ang European Union pagdating sa iba't ibang produktong pang-agrikultura katulad ng isda. Layunin nito na madagdagan ng halos £9 billion o katumbas ng $12.1 billion ang ekonomiya ng isa't isa pagdating ng taong 2020.
It is a great pleasure to be here. This is our first summit since Brexit, and the United Kingdom and the European Union are looking forward, not looking back. We are here to work on the new relationship, not to talk about the past one. The United Kingdom and the European Union are reconnecting with purpose. The security of our citizens, the prosperity of our economies, and the defense of peace in Europe and beyond. These three priorities that will guide our work today. Our shared values inspire us to address together our common challenges. We are stronger than we act together. To support Ukraine, to stabilize and strengthen our transatlantic alliance, to protect free trade, multilateralism, and an international rules-based order. Today, we are building a new partnership, a new strategic partnership, based on the renewed agenda for cooperation.
Sinabi ni British Prime Minister na nakikipag-usap siya sa ilang mga bansa para mag-set up ng return hubs. Magsisilbing shelter ng mga nabigong asylum seekers ang mga return hubs habang sila ay ma-deport sa kanilang country of origin.
Yes, we are in talks with a number of countries about return hubs, and I see them as a really important innovation, and that is consistent with the work that we've done in relation to UK-Albania reduction in numbers, the work that we've done on law enforcement arrangements with other countries, the return agreements that we've put in place, the record number of returns, and what I'd like to do is add return hubs to that. We are in those talks, and therefore at the appropriate time I'll be able to give you further details in relation to it.
Hindi binanggit ni British Prime Minister Keir Starmer kung sino-sino mga lider ng bansa ang kanyang nakausap ukol sa Return Home Scheme o Return Hub Scheme. Subalit may ilang miyembro ng publiko ang nagsabi na ang ideya ni Starmer ay katulad ng plano ng Conservative government na i-deport ang mga asylum seekers sa Rwanda. Tinutulan ni Starmer ang Rwanda Scheme dahil isang gimmick daw ito. Kaagad niya ring binasura ang batas na ito pagkaupo niya bilang Prime Minister noong nakaraang taon. Ibinunyag ng kampo ni dating US President Joe Biden na ito ay na-diagnose ng agresibong uri ng prostate cancer. Sinabi ng kampo nito na kumalat na sa mga buto ng dating Pangulo ang nasabing cancer. Noong nakarang linggo, anila nang makita ang prostate nodule matapos na makaranas ito ng pagtaas ng urinary symptoms. Nitong Biyernes, anila ay lumabas ang diagnosis na prostate cancer na maituturing na Gleason score ng 9 o grade group 5. Pinag-aaralan na ng 82 anyos sa dating Pangulo ang ilang mga opsyon para sa kanyang gamutan.
It's not good news when anyone has cancer. There's some things about this presentation that are worrisome. Number one is under a microscope, the cancer cells appear to be aggressive. And the way they describe that is that there's a high Gleason score. A Gleason score of 9 is that's on a scale up to 10. So a Gleason score of 9 or a grade group 5, that's two ways of saying the same thing, which is the cancer cells appear to be aggressive. What concerns me more than how the cancer cells look on our microscope is the fact that the cancer has been reported to have already spread beyond the prostate to the bones. And when the cancer has spread to the bones, that makes it stage 4. That means that the cancer is not curable. There's no treatment available that can cure the cancer. There's definitely treatment available that can control the cancer, really good treatment to control the cancer. And I would assume that the doctors caring for the former president are thinking that way right now.
Nagbanta si US President Donald Trump na kanyang tuluyang ipatutupad ang banta niyang mataas na taripa sa mga bansa. Sinabi ni Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent na mangyayari lamang ito kapag hindi naging tapat at sinsero ang mga bansang nais makipagkalakalan sa Estados Unidos. Una kasing ipinatupad ang mataas na taripa noong Abril 2, subalit kanya itong ipinagpaliban ng 70 araw para mabigyan ng tsansa ang mga bansa na magkaroon ng pag-uusap. Mula nang ipatupad ang nasabing pagbabantay, maraming lider ng mga ibang bansa ang kumausap kay Trump para mapababa ang nasabing taripa.
We do not want a generalized decoupling between the two largest economies in the world. What we want is the U.S. is going to decouple in strategic industries, which we saw during COVID. We had become woefully non-self-sufficient. So whether it's medicines, semiconductors, other strategic areas. So the United States will bring those industries home. We've had very productive discussions with Japan. South Korea is going through a governmental change, but
before they went into the election cycle. The South Koreans came with very good proposals. Indonesia, who's a large trading partner, has been very forthcoming. The island of Taiwan has presented very good proposal.
Nasa proseso na ang plano ng Pentagon na itayo ang Golden Dome defense system ni US President Donald Trump. Maraming ulat ang nagsasabing nakatuon sa mga makabagong teknolohiya ang Golden Dome ng US. Subalit kinumpirma ng ilang opisyal na marami sa mga kakayahan na binanggit ni Trump sa executive order nito tungkol sa pag-detect at pag-track ng missile mula sa kalawakan ay kanilang ginagawa na ngayon. Sinabi rin ni Missile Defense Agency Deputy Director Major General D. Jason Cothard na malaking policy shift ang utos ni Trump. Subalit ito ay isang pagkilalaan niya sa lumalawak na missile threat na nasaksihan ng maraming bansa sa mga nakalipas na taon. Ayon sa war experts, kabilang narito ang kapasidad ng Iran at North Korea, maging ang makabagong arsenal ng China at Russia na may hypersonic glide vehicles at fractional orbital bombardment systems.
Nag-plead ng not guilty ang isang Wisconsin judge sa akusasyon na tinulungan nito ang isang migrante na makatakas mula sa mga kamay ng mga otoridad sa labas ng kanyang courtroom. Narito ang report ni Pearl Rogacion.
Humaharap si Hannah Duggan, isang elected judge sa Milwaukee County Circuit Court sa federal charges na obstruction and concealing an individual wanted for arrest. Nagpasok ang abogado nitong si Steven Biskupic ng not guilty plea sa isang mabilis na proceeding noong Huwebes. Nagtakda si U.S. Magistrate Judge Stephen Dries ng trial date sa 22 ng Hulyo. Kaugnay nito, dose-dose ng demonstrador ang nagtipon sa labas ng Milwaukee Federal Courthouse bago ang pagdinig sa kaso. Tinutuligsa ng mga ito ang administrasyon ni Pangulong Donald Trump. Ayon sa mga demonstrador, hands off Judge Duggan.
It's the way that they're putting fear out into the community, and you can see it. I mean, there's a lot of people who no longer want to go to work. Here in Milwaukee, we get a lot of calls of people asking for advice whether they should go to their court day or not. They should go to the courthouse to get married, to get a document, to do basics like things. They don't want to go, and it's like, I don't know. It's really sad to see, disappointing, and I think when people, I would love to see a lot of more undocumented folks stand up and be out in the public, because I do believe that it's better to be within community. You're more protected there than if you are in the shadows, and we always tell people it's better to be out fighting than to be like scared in the shadows.
Lumabas ng korte si Duggan nang hindi humarap sa mga mamamahayag. Ayon sa prosekusyon, diniskarel ni Duggan ang isang planong pag-aresto nang ituro nito palayo ang federal mula sa hallway sa labas ng kanyang courtroom. Samantalang iniskortan nito ang migranteng si Eduardo Flores Ruiz gamit ang pribadong exit.
I thought our courthouses were protected spaces. She sent the defendant out into a hall by a different doorway, the same hall connecting with the main doorway. So I'm not sure why that was an issue. He also rode the elevator with one of the law enforcement officers who chose not to arrest him at that point. I'm not sure why that is. So it doesn't really seem like it's being applied properly. And that's a hallmark of this administration. They just do things recklessly to see if they can get away with it.
Itinanggi ng legal team ni Duggan ang mga akusasyon. Ayon sa mga ito, immune sa prosekusyon ang hukom kaugnay ng mga aksyong opisyal at dahil nanghihimasok ang kaso sa otoridad ni Duggan sa estado.
I know Judge Duggan personally, and I know what her life is good for. I helped her get elected to be a judge, and we are all behind her based on her character and her past history in the city. I think the current administration is trying to intimidate judges, trying to intimidate us, and we need to stand and fight back. And that's why everybody's here. We're saying, not in our city, not here. This is not right. They also want to go after our governor. this is not right, and we have to just make it known. We have to make our views known that we're not going to accept this. It's not something that America stands for.
Pearl Rogasyon para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Sa Washington, D.C. naman, nagprotesta sa labas ng Supreme Court ang mga laban sa mungkahi ni Pangulong Donald Trump na huwag nang kilalanin ang birthright citizenship. Narito pang report ni Annie.
Nakaamba ang U.S. Supreme Court noong Huwebes na ikonsidera ang tangka ni President Donald Trump na ipatupad ang kanyang executive order na limitahan ang birthright citizenship. Ito ay isang aksyon na makaaapekto sa libo-libong mga sanggol na ipinapanganak taon-taon. Hanap ng Republican President ang isang malaking kambyo mula sa kung paanong inuunawa ang konstitusyon ng bansa. Nakatakda ang mga hukom na dinggin ang mga argumento base sa emergency request ng administrasyon. Ito ay upang mabawasan ang injunctions na inisyu ng federal judges ng Maryland, Washington at Massachusetts na humaharang sa pambuong bansang direktiba ni Trump. Ayon sa mga hukom, nilalabag ng direktiba ni Trump ang citizenship language sa 14th Amendment ng U.S. Constitution. Anakwi para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
28 na ang nasawi dahil sa napakalakas na bagyong tumama sa mga estado ng Kentucky at Missouri sa Estados Unidos. Alamin natin ang karagdagang mga detalye mula kay Jeff Sanidad.
Isang hindi mapigil na spring weather system ang humibla ng napakalalakas na mga buhawi sa US Midwest at Ohio River Valley. Nasa 25 katao na ang naiulat na nasawi sa Kentucky at Missouri. Dagdag dito, sinabi ng mga opisyal ng estado at ng mga lungsod na nasalanta rin ang napakaraming tahanan at pag-aari. Ayon kay Mayor Carrie Spencer, isang buhawi ang humagupit sa St. Louis kung saan dagdag sa 5 namatay, nasa 38 naman ang nasaktan at may 5,000 properties na rin ang nasira. Tinungkab nito ang mga bubong ng mga bahay, itinumba ang mga linya ng kuryente at humampas sa isang malaking kalye habang kasagsagan ng rush hour traffic noong Biyernes. Samantala, may kalahating dosenang buhawi ang lumapag sa Missouri at sa kalapit estado nitong Illinois. Umabot na rin ang matinding bagyo sa Atlantic Coast, kabilang din ang New Jersey. Ayon kay U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, nakipag-ugnayan na ito sa governors ng Missouri, Kentucky at Illinois upang mag-alok ng federal resources bilang tulong sa mga estado sa pag-agapay sa iiwang pinsala ng bagyo. Jeff Sanidad, Washington, D.C. para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Inanunsyo ng Israel ang pagpayag nito na makapasok ang limitadong bilang ng pangunahing assistance kabilang na ang pagkain sa Gaza. Ito ay para matiyak na hindi mangyari ang krisis ng kagutuman sa naturang teritoryo. Tinuldukan naman ito ang 10 linggong pagharang ng Israeli military sa tulong papasok sa Gaza. Sa isang statement mula sa opisina ni Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, ginawa ang naturang hakbang kasunod ng rekomendasyon ng Israeli Defense Forces o IDF at ibinase sa pangangailangang suportahan ang kanilang panibagong military offensive laban sa Hamas na tinawag nitong Operation Gideon's Chariot.
צה"ל בהובלת פיקוד הדרום פתח במבצע מרכבות גדעון בהתאם להנחיית הדרג המדיני. אנחנו יוצאים למבצע כדי לממש את כל מטרות המלחמה בעזה. השבת החטופים ומיטוט שלטון החמאס. חשוב להדגיש, אנחנו נדע להתאים את עצמנו לכל התפתחות. אנחנו עוברים שלב בלחימה, ממבצע עוז וחרב למבצע מרכבות גדעון. המבצע הוא חלק ממלחמת חרבות ברזל. במהלך המבצע נגביר ונרחיב את השליטה המבצעית ברצועת עזה, תוך ביטור הרצועה והנעת האוכלוסייה לשם הגנתה. בכל המקומות בהם נפעל.
Iginiit din ng Israel na kikilos sila para pigilan ng Hamas na kontrolin ang pamamahagi ng humanitarian assistance. Ginawa naman ng Israel ang anunsyo ilang oras matapos sabihing sinimula na nila ang pinalawig pang ground operations sa Gaza. Matatandaang nauna nang nagbabala ang aid agency sa panganib ng kagutuman sa 2.1 milyong populasyon ng Gaza, kasunod ng lumabas na mga footage at bilang ng napaulat na mga batang dumaranas ng malnutrisyon.
since March 2nd. The comprehensive blockade that was put in place has really prevented the delivery of essential humanitarian and even commercial supplies. So that's been restrictions on everything from food, water, medical items, fuel, and cooking gas. But alongside that, I think we should all be mindful that we also are seeing mass displacements. 90% of the population in the Gaza Strip has been displaced, and often at multiple times as evacuation orders and no-go zones continue to expand. But maybe from a perspective of our organization, the Food and Agriculture Organization, we also want individuals to recognize, I think, in the public, that another driver for this reduction or this deterioration of the humanitarian situation is also because food systems have collapsed in Gaza. I think we can certainly assume that the types of numbers that we're seeing in this report released today will only continue to escalate. And I think the report is clear that there are a very large number of people now facing starvation. Malnutrition levels are high. And, you know, these are the types of characteristics or the kinds of metrics that ultimately move a country into a famine situation.
Susunod, car bombing sa California, itinuturing na forma ng domestic terrorism.
Donald Trump may mensahe sa Walmart.
At NBA Conference Finals playoff picture, kumpleto na po. Mga detalye po ng mga balitang yan at iba pa mga balita sa pagbabalik pa rin ng Mata ng Agila International.
Now open for business.
It is a signal to the world. We are open for business.
Open for Business with Cesar Vallejos. Every Sunday, 9 p.m.
Sa NET25.
Among the animals we've domesticated, chickens are in a class of their own. There are an estimated 20 billion worldwide. That's around 3 for every one of us. But they're often kept under terrible conditions in industrial egg factories. Cruel to the birds and bad for the environment. Is there a way to replace the humble egg with a convincing plant-based alternative?
Trask Construction, your trusted partner in hospital building. Trask Construction.
Nagbabalik ang Mata ng Agila International sa pagpapatuloy po ng ating mga balita ngayong gabi. Hindi naman nakaligtas ang 9 na pulis sa Malaysia matapos bumangga ang sinasakyan nilang truck sa isa pang truck. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, papabalik na ng isang bahagi ng convoy ng Federal Reserve Unit mula sa kanilang security assignment ng kanilang nakasabayan ang truck na may kargang buhangin. Sinabi ni Hilir Perak Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Dr. Bakri Zainal Abidin, kanila nang inaresto ang driver ng buwanggang truck dahil sa reckless driving. Iniimbestigahan na ng mga otoridad ang sanhi na road crash. Batay sa 2024 report ng Global Burden Disease, isa ang Malaysia sa mga bansa sa Southeast Asia na may pinakamataas na kaso ng road fatalities.
Patay naman ang kapitan at cabin crew ng isang Mexican Navy ship matapos sumabit ang mga masts nito sa Brooklyn Bridge. Ayon kay Mayor Eric Adams, may 21 pang sugatan mula sa insidente. Dagdag pa ng alkalde, lulan ng barko ang nasa 277 katao bago mawalan ito ng kontrol dahil sa mechanical error. Papalabasaan niya ang naturang sasakyang pandagat mula sa Pier 17 at tutungo sana ito sa Iceland. Nakilala ang barko bilang ARM Cuauhtémoc, isang training vessel ng Mexican Navy. Pinayuhan naman ang publiko na iwasan muna ang lugar malapit sa tulay.
Sa Palm Springs, California, isang patay matapos sumabog ang isang bomba na ayon sa Federal Bureau of Investigation ay isang act of terrorism. Alamin po natin ang balita mula kay NET25 correspondent Mayra Simbulan.
Isang bomba ang sumabog malapit sa isang reproductive health facility sa Palm Springs, California noong Sabado na ikinamatay ng isa at ikinasakit naman ng 4 na katao. Ayon sa FBI, ang insidente ay gawang terorismo. Ayon kay Assistant Director Akil Davis ng FBI Los Angeles Field Office, ang taong nasawi ay malapit sa sasakyang pinasabog ng pira-piraso sa labas ng isang clinic na pinapatakbo ng American Reproductive Centers. Ani Davis, sa kasalukuyan may person of interest ang mga otoridad at hindi na naghahanap pa ng suspect.
As I mentioned yesterday, our efforts to positively identify the deceased individual here has been found. We are fairly confident that that subject is Guy Edward Bartkiss, a 25-year-old from, again, 29 Palms. So we are fairly confident that Mr. Bartkiss is our primary suspect, person of interest. We are working through some other technical means to positively identify the decedent here. But we believe at this moment, based on the evidence that we've gathered, that that is Mr. Bartkiss as the decedent here.
Ayon kay Palm Springs Mayor Ron DeHart, ang bombang sumabog bago alas 11 ng umaga ay maaaring nasa kotse o malapit dito nakaparada ang kotse sa labas ng klinika nang sumabog ito. Dagdag ni Davis, ang pagpapasabog ng bombang ito ay sadyang akto ng terorismo. Ani Davis, tutukuyin ng FBI kung ang pag-atake ay international o isa pang domestikong terorismo. Sa isang video online, nakitang binutas ng bomba ang isa sa mga dingding ng gusali na ikinapinsala ng buong istruktura. Subalit sa kabila nito, gineryantehang magpapatuloy na ang mga operasyon ng klinika sa Lunes. Mayra Simbulan para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Dinala sa pagamutan ng 3 individual sa China matapos matamaan sila ng ligaw na gulong. Sa pool sa CCTV ang pagpasok ng ligaw na gulong sa loob ng isang gusali sa Wuji Town sa Hanggang County, Hunan Province. Tahimik na naglalaro ng tabletop games ang 4 na matatanda sa mesa bago sumulpot ang ligaw na gulong. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, galing sa isang truck ang gulong. Natagpuan naman ng pulisya ang truck driver at isinailalim siya sa isang interrogation ukol sa insidente.
Nakatakas ang 10 preso ng New Orleans Jail sa Louisiana. Ilan sa mga ito ay mga na-convict sa kasong murder. Narito pang report ni NET25 correspondent NJ de Guzman.
Sinasabing 2 oras ang lumipas bago na abisuhan ang pulisya na 10 preso sa isang New Orleans jail ang nakatakas noong Biyernes. Ayon kay Orleans Parish Sheriff Susan Hudson, nadiskubri lamang ng mga opisyal ng kulungan na nakawala ang mga preso nang mag-head count ito ng alas 8:30 ng umaga. Nakapuslit niya ang mga ito mula sa Orleans Justice Center ilang oras bago ang head count.
They were able to break, that was around 12:23 a.m. They were able to break open a door. There was a corrections monitoring technician in the pod module to be watching that. They were still able to exit the jail about 1:01 a.m. after breaching a wall behind a toilet in the jail. And based on video surveillance, they were seen exiting a door on the docks where we normally bring in supplies, scaling a wall, and running across the interstate shortly thereafter. We have indication that these detainees received assistance in their escape from individuals inside of our department. and the escape was discovered during a routine head count at 8:30 a.m. this morning.
Dagdag ni Hudson, marahil ay may tumulong sa mga preso mula sa labas.
We do acknowledge there is no way people can get out of this facility without there being some type of lapse in security. There's no way. It's almost impossible, not completely, but almost impossible for anybody to get out of this facility without help from the outside. We intend to find out exactly what happened.
Sinabi naman ng Louisiana State Police na nahuli na ang isa sa mga nakatakas sa French Quarter ng lungsod. Nakitang nagtatago ang preso sa ilalim ng isang kotse sa isang hotel garage.
Samantala, nagbabala naman si Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrell na mapanganib ang mga takas at nais nitong protektahan ang mga mamamayan na maaaring bantaan ng mga ito. NJ De Guzman, Washington DC para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Sa Louisiana pa rin nabalot ng apoy ang Nottoway Plantation, isang makasaysayang gusali na nakumpleto taong 1859. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, ang plantation ay dating ginamit bilang farmhouse ng mga asukal. Kinumpirma ng Sheriff's Office na walang nasawi o nasaktan sa sunog. Ikinalungkot naman ito ni Louisiana Attorney Dan Dice na siyang may-ari ng plantation. Sa isang pahayag, sinabi ni Dice isang malaking kalugihan para sa kanyang ang pagkasunog ng Nottoway Plantation dahil malaki ang ipinuhunan niya para sa gusali. Pinaniniwala ang electrical failure ang naging sanhi ng sunog.
Sinagip ng mga penitentiary officers sa Pocochi Penitentiary sa Costa Rica ang 2 pusa na ginawang drug mules. Ayon sa pahayag ng penitentiary, nakaalerto ang kanilang mga opisyal sa loob ng kulungan dahil napansin nito ang 2 paghalagalang pusa na may nakadikit na patches sa kanilang katawan. Dito na nila napagpasyahan ang hulihin ang mga pusa at tumambad po sa kanila maraming pakete ng ipinagbabawal na gamot. Naglalaman ang pakete ng 235.65 grams na marijuana, 67.76 grams ng crack paste at 2 sheets ng papel na ginagamit para sa ticketing. Kaagad na kinumpiska ng mga otoridad ang mga droga habang pinangalanan naman nila ang pusa bilang narcomichi o narco kitten at inihabilin siya sa National Animal Health Service para sa health evaluation.
Tumugon si US President Donald Trump sa pahayag ng Walmart na itataas nito ang presyo ng mga produkto dahil sa taripa ng administrasyon. Alamin natin ang matalas na sagot ni Trump sa anunsyong ito ng pinakamalaking retailer sa mundo. NET25 correspondent Rosel Feria para sa report.
Kainin niyo ang taripa kesa taasan ang presyo ng mga paninda. Yan ang sagot ni Pangulong Donald Trump noong Sabado sa Walmart nang sabihin ng world's largest retailer na magtataas ito ng presyo ngayong buwan dahil sa taripa ng kasalukuyang administrasyon sa bansa. Sa isang post sa social media, sinabi ni Trump na dapat tigilan ng Walmart ang paninisi sa taripa bilang dahilan ng pagtataas ng presyo ng mga produkto nito. Bilyon-bilyon anya ang kinita ng Walmart noong nakaraang taon, malayong higit sa inaasahan. Dagdag nito, hindi dapat singilin ng retailer ang valued customers nito. Samantala, sinabi ng Walmart na pananatilihin nitong mababa ang presyo ng mga produkto hanggat kakayanin sa gitna ng realidad ng maliit na retail margins. Noong Huwebes, sinabi ni Walmart CEO Doug McMillon na hindi nito kakayaning akuin ang tariff costs, subalit titiyakin anya ng kumpanya na hindi nito hahayaang maapektuhan ang presyo ng pagkain dahil sa tariff-related costs sa general merchandise na karamihan ay galing sa China. Maraming kumpanya sa bansa ang naglaslas o binawi ang kanilang full-year expectations sa gitna ng tensyon sa pagitan ng US at ng trading partners nito, partikular na ang bansang China. Bilang tugon, karamihan sa mga mamimili sa bansa ang naghihigpit sa paggasta dahil sa tila hindi napapipigil ang pagtaas ng bilihin. Rosel Feria, Washington DC para sa Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Taong 2016 nang inilunsad ng Crown Prince ng Saudi Arabia na si Mohammed bin Salman ang Vision 2030. Layunin ng pangmatagalang planong ito na baguhin at palakasin ang ekonomiya at lipunan ng bansa upang hindi na umasa sa langis bilang pangunahing source ng yaman nila. Ilan sa mga hakbang na nakasaad sa plano ay ang pagpapaunlad ng edukasyon at kalusugan, pagtulong sa mga lokal at maliliit na negosyante at pagkakaroon ng epektibo at transparent na pamahalaan. Ilan din sa mga malalaking proyekto sa ilalim ng Vision 2030 ay ang NEOM, isang city na may advanced technology. Ang The Line, isang city in a line na walang mga sasakyan at eco-friendly. At ang Red Sea Project na isang luxurious resort, subalit pinapangalagaan ang natural na environment ng rehiyon at sustainability ng wildlife. Bagamat puno ng kaaya-aya ang mga plano, kapansin-pansing hindi ito nababalita o nababanggit sa media. Ayon sa ilang pag-aaral, ito ay marahil sa ilang concern sa nasabing mga proyekto. Ilan dito ay ang human rights and labor issues na iniimbestigahan ng Human Rights Watch kung saan ilang mga migrant workers na ang napahamak at namatay umano sa gitna ng construction ng ilan sa mga proyekto sa ilalim ng Vision 2030. Tinitingnan rin ang anggulo na ito ay dahil sa controlled media ng Saudi at pag-iingat ng international media dahil sa geopolitical reasons. Kahit hindi ganoon ka-expose sa media, ang 1% of world's population o ang mga pinakamayaman sa mundo ay interesado sa pag-i-invest dito. Ilan sa mga posibleng dahilan ay ang focus ng mga proyekto sa mga negosyong posibleng masimulan. Political positioning rin ay isa sa mga maaaring kinukonsidera ng personalidad na ito dahil kilala ang Saudi Arabia bilang isa sa mga malalaking political and geopolitical powerhouses. Inaasahang 5 taon mula ngayon ay makikita na ang resulta ng mga hakbang na ginawa ng Saudi simula noong taong 2016. Sa kasalukuyang status, nasa 36 out of 96 na goals na nakapaloob sa Vision 2030 ang kanila na pong nakamit. Tinambakan naman ng Oklahoma City Thunder ang Denver Nuggets 125-93 sa Game 7 ng Western Conference Semifinals. Sa simula pa lamang ng laro ay naging agresibo na ang OKC. Hindi naman pinahiya ng OKC ang mga fans nila sa sariling court. Nanguna sa panalo ng OKC si Shai Gilgeous-Alexander na nagtala ng 35 points, 4 na assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals at 1 block. Habang mayroong 24 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds at steal si Jalen Williams. Naging matindi ang ipinakitang depensa ng OKC laban kay Nikola Jokic, kaya nakalimitahan ang kanyang paggalaw. Makakaharap ng Thunder ang Minnesota Timberwolves para sa Western Conference Finals na magsisimula sa araw ng Miyerkules.
Samantala na kumpleto ng finals picture para sa Eastern Conference ng NBA kasunod ng Game 7 win ng Oklahoma City Thunder laban sa Denver Nuggets. Mula sa dating 16 teams sa pagsisimula ng playoffs, 4 na teams ang tuluyang uusad sa conference finals. Ang Oklahoma City Thunder, Minnesota Timberwolves, Indiana Pacers at New York Knicks. Sa East, maghaharap ang Pacers at Knicks habang babandera naman ang laban ng Thunder at Wolves sa Western Conference. Nakatakda ang Game 1 sa pagitan ng Wolves at Thunder sa araw ng Miyerkules, May 21st, kung saan magsisilbing host ang Oklahoma. Nakatakda naman sa May 22 ang Game 1 sa pagitan ng Pacers at Knicks, kung saan magsisilbing host ang New York sa Madison Square Garden. Kapansin-pansin sa finals picture ang walang presensya ng mga tinaguriang perennial playoff stars katulad ni LeBron James, Stephen Curry at Kevin Durant, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum at Jaylen Brown dahil na rin sa maagang pagkakatanggal sa elimination. Ang mananalo sa bawat conference ay tuluyang uusad sa NBA Finals.
Pinabilib muli ni Dolly De Leon ang mga dumalo sa premiere ng 9 Perfect Strangers Season 2 sa The Beverly Estate sa Los Angeles, California. Sa kanyang Instagram post, sinabi ni De Leon na thankful siya sa proyekto at excited na mapalabas ang series. Gaganap si De Leon bilang Agnes, isa sa mga pangunahing karakter sa ikalawang season ng serye kung saan kasama rin niya sina Nicole Kidman, Murray Bartlett, Annie Murphy, Christine Baranski, Henry Golding at iba pa. Ang 9 Perfect Strangers na batay sa nobela ni Lian Murayerti ay umiikot sa siyam na strangers na nagtipon-tipon sa isang misteryosong wellness retreat.
Susunod, Beijing planong gawing marathon venue ang Great Wall of China.
Isang rare weather occurrence na mataan po sa Michigan.
Abangan ang iba pang mga storya pagdating ni Alma Angeles at ng NET25 World News. Iba pa ring mga detalye sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Trask Construction, your trusted partner in hospital building. Trask Construction.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka na mangamba, sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Ilalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa new era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Muling nagsagawa ng long marathon ang Beijing sa The Great Wall of China ngayong Mayo. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, ito na ang pang 22nd anniversary ng naturang marathon sa bansa. Nasa 1,219 runners mula sa 52 mga bansa ang nakiisa sa takbuhan para hamunin ang kanilang mga sarili upang makamit ang 5,164 steps. Sa huli, nasa 340 runners ang nakatapos ng full marathon habang nasa 335 naman ang nakiisa sa half marathon. Sumali naman ang 544 runners sa 8.65-kilometer course na fun run. Itinanghal bilang fastest man na runner sa full marathon si Alfie Robertson ng Australia kung saan kanyang nakamit ang record na 4 hours, 1 minute, and 25 seconds. Samantala, si Leonie Showman ng South Africa ang nagtop sa women's event sa time record na 4 hours, 27 minutes, and 52 seconds.
Nadiskubre ng isang photographer sa Michigan ang isang fog tsunami na dumapo sa Lake Michigan. Ayon kay Scott Johnson na nakakuha ng naturang footage ay may hinahabol daw siyang thunderstorm sa eastern front ng Michigan o mabigla siya ng strange weather occurrence na ito. Ayan po, makikita nyo sa inyong mga screen. Nabatay din sa pag-verify ng National Weather Service ng Estados Unidos ay nagaganap ang naturang fog tsunami kapag naiipit ang isang fog layer sa gitna ng magkapantay na current ng hangin. Dahil dito ay pinag-iingat ng Michigan Traffic Bureau ang mga mamamayan sa lugar dahil makararanas daw sila ng limited visibility and scattered thunderstorms sa kanilang estado. At narito po kami para maghatid ng balita sa amang dako ng mundo. Magandang gabi. Ako po muli si Rikki Mathay.
Ako si Rikki, Alagao, Flores. Ito po ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman po sa iba pang mga balitang nangyari rin sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa NET25 World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina and Rikki. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for NET25 World News. On tonight's headlines. President Bongbong Marcos Jr. said he was open to reconciling with the Duterte family.
Ako, ayoko ng gulo. Gusto ko makasundo sa lahat ng tao. Mas maganda, marami na akong kaaway. Hindi ko kailangan ng kaaway. Kailangan ko kaibigan.
And the news starts now. President Bongbong Marcos Jr. said he was open to reconciling with the Duterte family. That is 1 week after allies of his estranged Vice President Sara Duterte outperformed expectations in a fiercely contested and pivotal Senate race. In a podcast shared on his Facebook page, Marcos said he needed friends rather than enemies as he seeks to use the remaining 3 years of his term to deliver on his agenda.
Ako, ayoko ng gulo. Gusto ko makasundo sa lahat ng tao. Mas maganda, marami na akong kaaway. Hindi ko kailangan ng kaaway. Kailangan ko kaibigan. Kagaya na sabi ko sa'yo, pagka, ewan ko, kahit hanggat maaari, ako, ang habol ko, yung stability, peaceful, para magawa namin yung trabaho namin. Kaya ako, laging akong bukas sa ganyan. I'm always open to any approach na, alika, magtulungan tayo. Diba? Kahit hindi tayo magkasundo sa polisiya, hindi tayo magkasundo. Gawin nyo yung trabaho, pero wag na tayong nanggugulo. Wag na natin, tanggalin natin yung gulo.
Philippine presidents are limited to a single 6-year term. Duterte's office didn't immediately respond to a request for comment on Marcos' remarks. Sara Duterte is facing a Senate impeachment trial that could see her removed from office and permanently barred from holding public office again, denying her a presidential run in 2028. Her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, was elected mayor of Davao last week, even as he is detained at the International Criminal Court on charges of murder as a crime against humanity. Despite surveys predicting a Senate sweep by the president's allies in the May 12 midterm polls, some victories by Duterte-aligned candidates have given Sara Duterte an important foothold in the Senate that could prove pivotal in an impeachment trial. All 24 senators will serve as jurors in the trial, with 2/3 required to vote for the impeachment for it to succeed. Marcos has distanced himself from the impeachment process and on Monday said it was in the hands of the Senate.
Yung impeachment, nasa Senado na yan. Pabayaan natin sila, may proseso yan. Pabayaan natin ang proseso. Ako, basta ang nasa isip ko, tapos ng eleksyon, balik sa trabaho.
Meanwhile, the weekend brought a terrifying turn of events for communities across the Midwest and Ohio River. Saturday saw the violent force of nature as powerful tornadoes touched down, tragically claiming at least 25 lives in Kentucky and Missouri. The damage is extensive, and Jane Kathleen Gregorio has the full report.
On Friday, a tornado ripped through St. Louis, killing at least 5 and injuring 38 others. It has also damaged 5,000 properties. Mayor Kara Spencer says it tore off the roofs of houses, knocked down power lines, and swept through a major thoroughfare during rush hour traffic on Friday.
Right now, we're focused on the weather advisory that we're looking at for tonight. Large hail and rain is expected. Damaging winds are expected tonight. There's a potential for rain over the coming days, so we're really shifting our focus from life to storm prep. This is going to be a long recovery because the destruction is truly phenomenal.
At least half a dozen tornadoes touched down in Missouri and neighboring Illinois.
Well, the state and the regional emergency managers will be the first line of defense. We'll be setting up those relief centers and relief agencies. 211 is the number that people should call if they need help. And so that timeline will happen immediately. Does that mean in the next half hour, the next five hours? I don't want to get stuck in that timing. But that will be the first line of defense. And then, as we mentioned, the assessment effort is part of the process that we have to do to turn into assistance to the feds.
Other severe weather stretched all the way to the Atlantic coast. These include another tornado reported in New Jersey.
We were in the bedroom. I was sitting with my laptop about to do some work this afternoon, and the sirens came on, the wind started, and I always felt very safe in the city on this block with a brick house that has 3 layers of brick. The house was built in 1912, and the wind started and the tree out front was shaking so violently. I said, "Come on, David, let's go. Let's get out and get out of this room." And suddenly, all the doors shut, the windows flew out from the bedroom, the entire back of my house. This is was my dressing room, and you can see straight into the alley now. And also downstairs, my kitchen wall, dining room wall, the bedroom wall over here, completely gone.
U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says she offered federal resources to the governors of Missouri, Kentucky, and Illinois to help their states cope with the aftermath. Noem has championed a change in the federal strategy for managing disasters under the Trump administration. This by shifting responsibilities to states. President Donald Trump's proposed budget includes deep cuts for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which falls under Noem's scope. As of Saturday afternoon, about 155,000 customers were without power in Kentucky and Missouri. Jane Catherine Gregorio for NET25 World News.
New York's famed Brooklyn Bridge was the scene of a surprising and deadly accident over the weekend. A Mexican Navy sailing vessel illuminated with lights collided with a landmark, resulting in the deaths of 2 people and injuries to many others. Joanne Soriano reports from New York.
Yes, Alma. Videos of the crash online shows the training vessel Cuauhtémoc as it approached the iconic bridge over the East River, close to the Manhattan side of the span, which connects the borough with Brooklyn. Its 147-foot or 45-meter masts were too tall to clear the arch bridge at that point. They toppled when the vessel, named after the last Aztec emperor, sailed underneath. Late Saturday, the Mexican Navy confirmed that 22 people were injured on board the ship. 19 of them, 3 of whom have been seriously injured, were receiving medical attention in local hospitals. The Post says no rescue operations were needed because no one fell into the water. Early on Sunday on X, New York City Mayor Eric Adams said that 2 of the 277 people on board at the time had died. 2 others remained in critical condition.
So the coordination was extremely important, and it was executed to the best of our ability to minimize any loss of life. Our hearts go out to the family members, and many family members are going to be traveling here.
The Mexican Ministry of the Navy will search for every family of every one of the injured in order to give them a very detailed panorama of what's going on with every one of them.
The pilot that is assigned to navigate, the boat out of the water,
I believe he lost, and there were some mechanical issues that probably caused the ship to hit the water.
In New York, Joanne Soriano for NET25 World News. Back to you, Alma.
A significant health update from the U.S. Former President Joe Biden is battling metastatic prostate cancer. And doctors are saying while it's an aggressive form, it's hormone sensitive, which allows for management. However, medical experts emphasize that at this stage, the cancer is not curable.
A statement from former President Joe Biden's office says the 82-year-old and his family are reviewing treatment options with doctors. The statement goes on to say while this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. Biden's office says the cancer scored a 9 out of 10 on the Gleason score grading system, which is used to help determine the aggressiveness of prostate cancer. Urologist Dr. Herbert Lepper says a score of 9 is very high risk. But he adds that many men can live 5 to 10 years and beyond, even with metastatic prostate cancer.
What concerns me more than how the cancer cells look under our microscope is the fact that the cancer has been reported to have already spread beyond the prostate to the bones. And when the cancer has spread to the bones, that makes it stage 4. That means that the cancer is not curable. There's no treatment available that can cure the cancer. There's definitely treatment available that can control the cancer, really good treatment to control the cancer. And I would assume that the doctors caring for the former president are thinking that way right now. So with prostate cancer that's metastasized to the bone, you could control it for years. 2 or 3 years is very realistic. And some lucky patients get control for 4, 5, 6, and even longer.
Biden's physical health and mental acuity drew scrutiny during his 2021-2025 presidency. He abruptly ended his bid for re-election last July, weeks after a halting performance during a debate against Republican Donald Trump promoted panic among his fellow Democrats. Trump, who has repeatedly berated Biden since taking office in January, expressed sympathy on Sunday for Biden and his wife, Jill, in a post on his social media platform, Truth Social. He wrote that Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. Trump added they extend our warmest and best wishes to Jill and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery. At the time of Biden's election in 2020, he was the oldest person to win the presidency. Trump, who is 78, broke that record when he defeated Vice President Kamala Harris last year. Estela Dominique for NET25 World News.
In a move that has sparked significant controversy, U.S. President Donald Trump has fired Carla Hayden, the Librarian of Congress. The White House cited her commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion policies as a key factor in the decision. Now, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt addressed reporters. Let's listen in.
The president fired the Librarian of Congress. Why did he choose to do that?
We felt she did not fit the needs of the American people. There were quite concerning things that she had done at the Library of Congress in the pursuit of DEI and putting inappropriate books in the library for children, and we don't believe that she was serving the interests of the American taxpayer well, so she has been removed from her position, and the president is well within his rights to do that.
Hayden, the first woman and African-American to hold the position, was appointed by former President Barack Obama in 2016 for a 10-year term. The Library of Congress has not issued a statement. The firing has drawn sharp criticism from top Democrats in Congress. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer condemned the move, saying, quote, Trump's decision to fire Dr. Carla Hayden is the latest foray in his relentless campaign to dismantle the guardrails of our democracy and punish public servants who don't bend to his every will, unquote. House Majority Leader Hakeem Jeffries also weighed in, calling the firing unjust. He said there will be accountability for this unprecedented assault on the American way of life sooner rather than later. The New York Times first reported the firing. The move has ignited a debate over presidential authority and the role of diversity initiatives within federal institutions. And continuing this report, President Trump picked Todd Blanche, his own 2024 trial lawyer. to run the Library of Congress, skipping the normal process. Take a look. Lawmakers from both parties say putting an executive branch official in charge of a Congress agency breaks the rules. A few days later, the White House suddenly fired Shira Perlmutter, who led the U.S. Copyright Office, right after her team released a report warning that tech companies might be using copyrighted work illegally to train AI. Legal experts are warning that these moves could mess up the library's main job, giving lawmakers neutral research and private legal advice. It's not just about banning certain books. It looks like a power play to control Congress's own research vault and the confidential information it holds. Is this really about books or about grabbing the library's secrets? In a move that echoes through financial history, Moody's has downgraded the U.S. sovereign credit rating. This is the first time in more than 100 years that the agency has taken this step, citing the growing $36 trillion national debt. Take a look.
Moody's downgraded the United States' perfect credit rating on Friday for the first time in more than a century over the nation's growing $36 trillion debt pile. It's a move that could send ripples through global markets and complicate President Donald Trump's attempts to cut taxes. Moody's first gave the U.S. its pristine AAA rating in 1919. It's the last of three major credit agencies to downgrade the country. The first was Standard & Poor's in 2011. Moody's on Friday cut the rating by one notch to AA1, citing rising debts and interest payment ratios that are, quote, significantly higher than similarly rated sovereigns. Though its outlook on the U.S. is now stable after it was changed to negative in 2023. On social media, White House Communications Director Stephen Jung singled out a Moody's economist, Mark Zandi, for criticism, calling him a political opponent of Trump. Zandi declined to comment. He is the chief economist at Moody's Analytics, which is a separate entity from the credit rating agency Moody's. Since returning to the White House in January, Trump has pledged to balance the U.S. budget. But his administration's efforts to raise revenue and cut spending have so far failed to persuade investors. Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has fallen far short of its initial goals to downsize the federal government, and attempts to boost revenue through tariffs have sparked concerns about a trade war and global slowdown, roiling markets. Left unchecked, such worries could trigger a bond market rout and hinder the administration's ability to pursue its agenda.
The number of Canadians patronizing American products and those traveling to the U.S. continues to decline. And this as a result of their stand against U.S. tariffs and the Trump administration. Take a look.
It looks like earlier predictions are coming true, as a new Statistics Canada report shows that Canadians have boycotted American products and travel as a stand against the Trump's imposed tariffs and rhetoric against Canada. The number of Canadians returning from the U.S. by car declined by about 15% in the month of April compared to the same month last year. Those who returned by air declined by about 35%. In the same thread, U.S. resident trips to Canada by car have also decreased by about 10% compared to the same time last year. Experts believe that though some Canadians are still confident traveling to the U.S., others are determined to stand up in protest against the U.S. president's statements and treatment of Canada. Some have expressed fear of crossing the border because of incidents of Canadians being detained or going through stricter border checks. Some experts note that these trends may put some pressure on American politicians, possibly affecting the 2026 U.S. midterm elections, as Americans realize the actual damage to the U.S. economy brought about by the Canadian travel and purchasing boycott. Yolanda Aspiras, Toronto, Ontario for NET25 World News.
Turning now to developments in the Ukraine conflict, U.S. President Donald Trump is set to make another attempt at brokering a ceasefire. On Monday, he plans to speak separately with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky to discuss a potential truce. Take a look.
Trump is going to have a busy day on the phone. In just a few hours, he'll be calling Russian President Vladimir Putin. But before he makes that call, the leaders of Britain, France, Germany, and Poland want to talk with him. They want Trump to back new sanctions on Russia. British Defense Secretary John Healey says now is the time to brace Putin.
We now have to put pressure on Putin in every way we can, so that that's a combination of military support for Ukraine in the way that we are, diplomatic pressure and economic pressure where we can as well. We will do our bit as the E5 defense ministers and E5 nations, but the more this effort on all flanks is coordinated with more nations, the more effective it's likely to be.
Now, after talking with Putin, Trump will be calling Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. He also plans to speak with the leaders of several NATO countries once that call is done. Trump is hoping to get both sides to agree to lay down arms as a first step to ending the war. In a post on Truth Social, the president says hopefully a ceasefire will take place and it will be a productive day. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff told ABC News on Sunday that he's confident Trump will make some progress.
His sensibilities are that he's got to get on the phone with President Putin, and that is going to clear up some of the logjam and get us to the place that we need to get to. And I think it's going to be a very successful call. The president is determined to get something done here, and hopefully, if he can't do it, then nobody can. So I leave it to the two leaders to have that call.
On the weekend, Russia didn't appear to be in the mood to entertain a ceasefire. Yesterday, Moscow launched its largest drone attack on Ukraine since the start of the war, firing 273 drones at several Ukrainian cities. The airstrikes destroyed homes and killed at least one woman. Ukraine's intelligence service says it believes Russia intended to fire an intercontinental ballistic missile later in the day in an attempt to intimidate the West. Moscow has not responded to that accusation. Meanwhile, Zelensky met with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance in Rome on Sunday. Zelensky is trying to restore ties with Washington after this disastrous meeting, you recall, in February in the White House. He says the two spoke for about 40 minutes, and he stressed the importance of an unconditional ceasefire. Ukraine and Russia held their first face-to-face talks last Friday in Istanbul with low-level officials. They failed to agree on a truce. Moscow presented conditions the Ukrainians say are unacceptable. Whether anything will change today when Trump intervenes remains an unknown. So far, Moscow has said it will only agree to a ceasefire if it can keep Ukrainian land it has occupied. Ukraine says it would rather fight than give up any territory to its invader. Caught in the middle, civilians like these. Thomas I. Likeness, NET25 World News.
Taiwan's Coast Guard says Beijing might be trying to shake public confidence just as President Lai Ching-te marks his first year in office. And they've got proof to back up their suspicions.
After President Lai's inauguration on May 20th last year, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, launched the Joint Sword 2024A military exercises. It did not rule out that during President Lai's upcoming inauguration anniversary, the CCP may once again employ similar tactics and videos to conduct political warfare, aiming to disrupt our people's morale and confidence. The Coast Guard administration will continue to strengthen its deployments and maintain close communication with allied forces.
A video briefly trending on Chinese social media showed a man rowing across the Taiwan Strait, planting a Chinese flag on a remote Taiwan beach, then rowing back. The clip's gone now, but officials confirm it was filmed on Taiwanese soil.
Regarding the footage taken on shore, it has been confirmed to be at the wind turbines in Dayuan, Taoyuan. However, whether the individual truly came to Taiwan by piloting a rubber dinghy, as claimed, or if the footage was taken locally or staged with the help of collaborators in Taiwan, remains unclear. The Coast Guard administration is currently reviewing surveillance footage from intersections and coordinating with the National Immigration Agency as well as the Ministry of National Defense to utilize various intelligence gathering methods. We are conducting an in-depth investigation.
Investigators are still piecing together whether the flag planting was a lone act from across the water or if someone on shore helped coordinate it, and they're bracing for more before Lai's anniversary. In a historic diplomatic milestone, Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto visited Bangkok today, marking the first official visit by an Indonesian leader to Thailand in 2 decades. The meeting comes as the region continues to grapple with the ongoing crisis in Myanmar. Since the military coup in 2021, Myanmar has been mired in violence and political instability. The military junta, known as the State Administration Council, has extended its rule and plans to hold elections in late 2025. But these are widely viewed as illegitimate. Fighting between the military, ethnic armed groups, and resistance forces has intensified, leading to the widespread displacement and humanitarian concerns. ASEAN, the regional bloc that includes Thailand, Indonesia, and Myanmar, has struggled to present a unified response. Indonesia, as a recent ASEAN chair, has pushed for an inclusive political solution and supported efforts to mediate dialogue among all parties. Thailand, sharing a long border with Myanmar, has played a key role in regional diplomacy, sometimes engaging directly with the junta, which has at times led to divisions within ASEAN. Both Indonesia and Thailand continue to emphasize ASEAN's central role in restoring peace and stability in Myanmar, stressing the need for dialogue, humanitarian access, and adherence to the bloc's 5-point consensus for resolving the crisis.
We reaffirmed our shared commitment to strengthening ASEAN centrality and unity amid global political and economic uncertainties. We will work together to promote inclusive and sustainable economic and social integration and enhance regional stability.
Kami
juga membahas krisis yang sedang berlangsung di Myanmar.
We also discussed the ongoing crisis in Myanmar. Indonesia appreciates and highly values Thailand's constructive role in engaging neighboring countries to find a peaceful solution in Myanmar and facilitating dialogue with all parties. We also stressed the importance of an inclusive national dialogue that can lead to the creation of peace and stability in Myanmar.
Bisa mencapai perdamaian dan stabilitas di Myanmar.
And the news continues here on NET25. We'll be right back.
Ang bawat araw mas sumasaya kapag tayo'y magkakasama.
Sa Lunes, bibida ang mga kabarangay sa Barangay West Crame, San Juan City.
Summer special na ng LTE sa Martes sa Barangay Sabang, Naik, Cavite.
Sa Miyerkules, live na live tayo sa Barangay La Huerta, Parañaque City.
Sa Huwebes, pupunta tayo sa Balut Capital of the Philippines sa Barangay Tabacalera, Pateros.
Sa Biyernes, gagawin nating good ang morning ng Barangay Ibayo, Estasyon Tramo, Naik, Cavite.
See you every 7 a.m. dito lamang sa kabarangay nyo, LTE, La
Tonipet,
and Everything.
Let's get together sa NET25.
Now for a bit of fun and excitement happening all the way in Canada. The Calgary Expo 2025 is in full swing, and it sounds absolutely incredible. Imagine a massive gathering of fans celebrating everything from superheroes to anime. Our correspondent, Rachel Lucis, takes us inside this pop culture phenomenon.
If you've spotted a few superheroes, stormtroopers, or even a couple of wizards, don't worry, you're not imagining things. Calgary Expo 2025 is in full swing and it's bigger and better than ever.
It's that time of year again when fandoms collide and imaginations come to life. Calgary Expo 2025 has taken over the BMO Center with thousands of fans coming together to celebrate comics, gaming, sci-fi, anime, and everything pop culture. This year's star-studded guest list includes sci-fi legends, voice actors, and fan-favorite stars from movies, TV, and comics.
I is dressed as Magic from Marvel Rivals, so a video game that's starring Marvel characters. What inspired me to dress as her is I feel like we need more strong female characters, classic.
But Calgary Expo isn't just about celebrity sightings. It's a showcase of talent from local artists and indie creators to passionate fans bringing jaw-dropping cosplay to life. Whether you're hunting for rare collectibles or joining a lightsaber duel, there's something here for everyone.
Okay, well, I've been an artist for 25 years now. I've drawn for Marvel and DC. I've worked in film, worked in various films, and I've been a YouTuber for the past 13 years. So I'm very comic book art influenced because that's how I've always drawn my whole career, pretty much. So I draw traditional Marvel and DC style. Now, of course, there's so many different Marvel and DC styles, but I just like to draw a lot of superheroes and add a lot of detail and draw a lot of robots as well. I'm known for drawing a lot of robots. Yes.
As the weekend continues, one thing's for sure. Calgary Expo 2025 isn't just a convention. It's a celebration of creativity, connection, and community.
Rachel Lucy's Calgary, Canada para sa NET25 World News.
And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on NET25, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you all for joining us. Good night.